on now.
Okay, all right. I want to call the meeting to order. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, and the governor's March 15th order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the select board will begin. That's good. This meeting of the Board of Health will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for the remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Office of the Attorney General's webpage. No in-person attendance of meetings of the public will be permitted. The town will preserve to use conference calls. Capabilities regularly for other parties to listen in and participate accordingly. If not possible, we will post on the town's website an audio recording as soon as possible after the meeting. Any questions? If anybody else is recording this, they need to let us know now. Okay. Approval of the minutes for the last meeting. Sue?
Just a couple little typos for me, Jessica. Under Title V.
Yep.
The third line, Noble, N-O-B-L-E.
Oh, thought I fixed that. Okay.
And then 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth line, Honeybird, capitalized H, capitalized B.
Yeah.
I got that.
And that's about it.
Jane?
Yeah, wait a minute, I brought up the wrong set. There was just one little sentence here that it just didn't sound right. Which one is it? Ms. Broska asked who would be overseeing the clinic. You see that on the last page? Ms. Spencer said that, oh, no, Westfield, no, darn, that's not it. And of course, I had it. Oh, it was just kind of a little grammatical thing, so it really is not important.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, okay.
Okay, can I move to approve the minutes as corrected?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of April 1st.
I need a second.
Did you second or did I second it?
I'll second it. All in favor, Jerry, aye. Sue?
Yes.
Jean?
Yep.
Okay, let's move on. Public comment. Anybody wish to make a public comment now? Okay, so
Should we move that in the agenda always to the end, or is that fine?
that's usually when public comment is done, I believe. Joe, don't you do public comment beginning of the meeting?
Oh, okay. So keep it that way.
Yeah, we'll keep it that way.
Yeah, but don't we do it in the beginning and then we do it in the end again too?
Well, I think what I do is I go around the room and ask anybody if they have any questions about what went on, so we don't leave it up in the air. That's all.
So really,
I apologize for not seeing that the select board in that the blurb, because Michelle Hill just sent out that new blurb and I thought it was for us. I didn't realize it had been made
It's
for.
fine.
I'll change that.
what are we talking
I'll
about?
remember for the last meeting. That's okay.
What he read, like last month, I got a new statement
Oh,
and I didn't realize it had that in it. Didn't
right.
that select board not?
I caught it.
So
Okay.
you got my email, Tammy, huh?
It flashed up on the screen.
All right. Let's move on then.
Actually, could I ask a question?
Sure, Peter.
So this is sort of for a general story we're doing for a few towns, but I think about a month ago when phase 4 started, it seems like you guys weren't super sure that that was the best thing to do at that time. Stop me if I'm misremembering this, but I'm just wondering, like at this point, a month later, with numbers going down, although I haven't heard the numbers for Southwick yet this week, so I could be wrong. But do you feel they are up? Oh, okay. So I guess knowing that, do you feel that starting phase 4 on March 22nd was a wise idea, or is the jury still out?
So my humble opinion, and I'll speak first. I think no matter when you start stage 1, 2, 3, or 4, people are going to do what people are going to do. And I think unless you're going to put a cop on every corner or in every restaurant, or people just going to do what they're going to do, depending on what they believe they should be able to do. But that being said, the numbers are relatively low. People are getting vaccinated. So I think we're not going to go backwards. So whether it was a wise decision or not, I think it was made and we just live with it.
Okay.
Sue, what do you think? Any comments?
No,
Jean?
Not at this time.
Tammy? What do you think?
So phase 4 started on March 22nd and it is April 15th. I don't know if we're seeing any changes yet, but Kate sent me a report and we are back in the red again. So.
Okay.
So we went up from, if I read Kate's chart right, 25 or 26 to 33.
22 to 33. Yep.
Okay, 22 to 33 out of 10,000 people in town. So I still contend that it's a false number because it's based on the number of tests that were taken and can vary greatly from week to week, the positivity rate and what that means to your town. So, if it would have gone to 100, then I think that's a different story. But, anyways, I'm done with that. Anybody else? Peter, is
That is all I had at this time. Thank you.
for your comment, for your column? Okay. Okay, so Mr. Johnson, welcome to the meeting.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Ms. Spencer, you have the floor now.
Well, I asked Mr. Johnson to come to the meeting because last weekend was the JD event, which brings in a much larger amount of riders at motocross than a normal weekend. And I received several complaints with photographs and video of lack of social distancing and masking protocols. And I just felt that we needed to address it. I know that I heard good things about the weekends where these large events weren't happening, that with the masks and the protocols in place, that those were working on those weekends, but it seems like these larger events are too large and protocols are great, but there's just too many people to be able to enforce them properly. I don't know if it's the particular group of people that you get at these larger events, but I think it's something we need to address.
I have a question. Was the public allowed at this meeting or just the people that were connected with the riders? Because there were an awful lot of cars there and trucks and whatever.
Yeah, nowhere near as many cars as we used to have. What we allowed it to was the rider plus 3 of their people, whether they came in if they came in a separate vehicle or not. But it was pretty much the same. Spectators were a very minimal amount, which surprised me because I expected them to come out.
There's an awful lot of cars there outside of the pits.
Normally on a Saturday night, we have filled about 70% of the inner pit area. This past Saturday, we filled the entire pit. We had the entire parking area outside of the Legion and about half of the wooded area already filled with only racers. It was the largest amount of racers they've ever had, unprecedented. And you know, it's not just the large group. The J-Day group are not of the same level of competitors, if you will, as all of our other organizations. They come from varied backgrounds. The demographics are quite different than what we normally get. J-Day is a phenomenon. It's one that, you know, NESC was there. New England Sports Committee was there the weekend before. Everything was fine. They are a 61-year-old racing organization and still can't figure out what the attraction is to J-Day, because it brings in such a diverse dichotomy of groups that come in. Yeah, it was, it took us by surprise. We did not go in there unprepared. We went in there with 2 police officers. We went in there with 14 independent security people who had vests that I made, caution vests that said Southwick Health and Safety. I did not want to make anybody think I was part of the Board of Health. It was Southwick Board and Southwick Health and Safety, which means my track. And they went throughout the entire pits to remind everybody, and everybody complied. And then they would take them off. And as you said earlier in the meeting, people are going to do what they're going to do. And as long as you stay on top of them, they'll listen. If you can't follow them around 78 acres of land, they're going to do what they want to do. We invested an additional $1,000 of signage in addition to what we already had from last year. We were a little bit surprised by the amount of riders that showed up, but
So
the
how many
spectators,
How many people would you say were there?
I would
Riders
say,
and
I'm sorry,
riders and their crew.
I would say riders and crew probably around 2,200
And
in
so
that area.
Tammy, is there any limit for
No.
outdoor events?
No,
Not for sports.
no.
It's supposed to be socially distanced and masked,
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
so they were packed
Absolutely.
shoulder to
That's-
shoulder.
And that's exactly what we harped on all day long.
So
Right.
unless you're able to do some enforcement, then these things can't happen. Is that right? Tammy, what do you think?
So my proposal is that until the mask order is lifted, events like J-Day, I don't think we should be having them because we can't control the people. I mean,
Was this
the
the large,
protocols are good and everything like that, but they're as good as being able to do it. I think it's too many people, too many wild cards.
What was your, did you have a cutoff of the amount of people that could register, or just they could register at the gate, or how'd that go?
No, there was a cutoff. It was all pre-entry. All of that was pre-entry, and it for the first time in history met the maximum.
So
Jeannie?
Rick, the only two events left for the season that are that large are the Nationals and J-Day, the next
Yeah.
J-Day,
And Rugged Maniac. So
which we
You know,
don't know whether or not we can even do Rugged Maniac.
no, and
Yeah.
look at I
It's a
made the
foot
commitment
race.
to I made the commitment to the board that everything that we do will be based on the Massachusetts mandate, and we will continue to do that. Unless rules change, the National is not going to happen. Rugged Maniac is not going to happen unless rules change. As they stand right now, it will not happen, period. It's very simple. We put it on the schedule because we need to schedule something. The problem, and it kills me because for the first time in 4 years, we finally got some financial support with a title sponsor for this national. And that's a lot of money that, we've lost over the last 4 years by not having that. And chances are good that it's not going to happen.
So what are
when's
we
the
gonna
next
do?
J-Day date?
Go, Jerry.
When's the next J-Day date?
October,
November.
right? or November?
October or November, October.
I think the 31st.
So
Hold
I would, not my, since I won't be on the board, but I would probably think that by then, I'm just being a, trying to be a soothsayer here, Joe. My guess by then, most of these mandates will be off to a huge degree. The kids will all be back in school. Most people who want to get vaccinated will have been vaccinated. But I'm not, you guys do what you want. I'll stay out of it because I'm not going to be, I'm not going to be a part of
May
it.
I add, may I add to it? We're one of the states that's still on one of the tighter lockdowns. Colorado this week are removing all restrictions. Pennsylvania now are up to 70% of
And
total
And
capacity.
Mr. Johnson, there could be more dead people in Colorado and more dead people in Pennsylvania than there will be in Massachusetts because they lifted those restrictions.
I am merely reporting what I know.
Well, that's the answer to your question, to your statement. There'll be more dead people because of those lifting those restrictions. It's just
Okay,
science.
so the next big event then will probably be in, would you say, October? 'Cause they're not-
October, end of October.
All right. So what events do we have in the meantime?
So
We have one pretty much every week.
And Tammy, you've seen those pictures of the weekly ones?
I've heard from people who've been there, like Jerry, but I haven't seen pictures of the weekly events like last year.
I was there last week to talk to Mr. Didi, and they had all the signage out, much more than I've seen before. They had everybody roped off. It was well designed, but unless you're going to send an army of police officers to write tickets, Rick can't, and if you want to start, mayhem, that's fine, but they were prepared, well prepared, better than I've seen it before. Absolutely better. So I think he tried, but I think, like he said, the crowds are much smaller for these other events, totally smaller. But again, that was my observation since my name was brought up. My observation was that the signage and the preparations were much better, but I still saw people walking around without masks. But I wasn't going to stop them, So, okay. Tammy?
I kind of said what
So do we do anything now?
I
or
just-
do we wait?
I think that, I mean, I know Rick is pretty confident that the nationals aren't going to happen, but I guess I would say that events that are large like the nationals or J-Day, as long as the mask ordinance is up and social distancing is required, I think those are ones that we should be putting off until afterwards.
Well, then he only has to worry about the November one. Is that right? Is that what you're saying?
But he doesn't know 100% if the nationals are canceled yet, and those are in June.
Okay, well,
We had our bi-weekly meeting today with the national group. I will be in another meeting with the safety group on Monday, only because we're one of the first 4 on the schedule. The first 3 are ready to go. They're already selling tickets. Their states have given the go-ahead to do it. I have told them that I'm not going to until something changes. So I have not bailed out of it yet. I anticipate that I will, because the amount of people that I could put in there and still have to pay the exorbitant fees for television and security and all of the other things that come along with it, it's not feasible. Just can't be done. So, the national group has not heard officially from me. We're not doing it, but in the back of my mind, I'm not planning on it.
so what from the state would you have to do in order to have this event?
They would have, every other state is up to about 60 or 70% capacity. And for a large event like that. And it would take at least that, with a lot of concessions relative to the television rights and so forth, before I could say yes. There's a lot of moving parts.
Okay.
When is it scheduled for?
June 26th. It's too soon.
Yeah.
And I didn't want it that soon. I wanted something like August, but it it's all NBC television. What else do they have going on with all the other stuff, Olympics and so forth?
Gene?
So I
anything?
would propose that we continue and evaluate it as we go. I will probably make the decision relative to the national within the next 10 days. Officially.
Okay, if you say you want to, say you're going to do the national, what's the Board of Health responsibility? Can we prevent that from happening if we think there's going to be a risk?
Well, I think if the state says it's okay, if they open it up to certain, I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, this is an outdoor event. It's no different than checking the indoor structures that were not in compliance, right? These people happen to be outside as opposed to inside. So,
But we
I think-
already know that the large crowds can't basically be controlled to follow the
And we-
guidelines.
and we also knew that the large indoor crowds weren't being controlled either, right?
Well, the crowds that are there now aren't being controlled. If you look at some of the pictures,
Well, that's
who's
from the
wearing
J-
a mask? Who cares? It's totally unacceptable to me, even what's going on right now.
Are you getting the gist there, Rick?
Bottom line is, you're talking a J-Day event versus our normal weekend events. There's a completely different, and what you saw on that video, I don't know if you know Ken Kaplan. He is from the Discovery Channel. He makes things exceptionally exciting at all times. And he catches everything that's supposed to be wrong because he wants to make a bad boy impression out of it.
So what normally goes on for next week, for instance, at motocross? What's going on?
This coming weekend is a Loretta Lynn amateur qualifier.
So how many
Would-
people would you normally have?
Probably a couple hundred riders.
Okay, and that's opposed to how many that you had at J-Day?
20
22.
some odd hundred.
Okay, there've been a couple hundred riders, and how many would their crew?
Normally they average 1.6 over and above the riders. And the week before that, last week, we had far more than that, very controllable, because you have a different mentality of riders, different mentality of group.
Explain to me what you mean by controllable. Do you mean that you're insisting that these people keep social distancing and wear masks? Because they don't. So what's your version of controllable?
It's just as controllable as when I drive out and look at the baseball and soccer fields with not a single mask. Not one.
But we're talking about your event in Massachusetts. We're not
Well, he's
talking
talking
about
about the same thing.
Colorado. We're not talking about Pennsylvania. We're talking about your event in Massachusetts. I would like to know what you mean by controllable.
Well, Rick's talking about Wally Park when they have.
I'm talking about
soccer
Wally Park. I'm talking about the rec center.
Right, and I'm not. I'm talking about your event. I'm not comparing. I am being specific. And I would appreciate it if you would be specific to tell me what you mean by controllable.
We control it by going from person to person who's not complying. We control it by nobody will get registration. Nobody will get a hot dog. and nobody will buy a t-shirt unless they have a mask on their face.
So when I show up at your event on Sunday, that's what I'm going to see.
I invite you to come.
There's
Okay.
signs all over. No mask, no service. You know, it's, again, unless you're gonna put some police there with ticket books and start handing out tickets, I think any of these events, no matter where they're held, are not gonna be in compliance. I don't care if they're Little League games, soccer games, T-ball games, Pee Wee football. People just will take their masks off. And unless you're ready to, you know, be the bad guy, then they're gonna do it. So, unless we're gonna pull everybody in here and treat everybody the same, because we can do it. I mean, we can go to Wally Park and take these pictures because we'll see exactly what Mr. Johnson's talking about. It's not gonna be any different. So, I think you can do the best you can. Okay, I said my piece.
All right, Mr. Johnson, how many events did you have before this past week?
Last year, during the COVID situation, we had 33 events.
All right, so was this event last week the first event of the year?
No, third.
Okay, and Tammy, have you received any complaints about the other events? No.
This year, no. The last complaints were from last year's J-Day.
Okay, so we're not gonna have another
Always back
J-Day
in the
till
middle of the meeting,
October.
okay?
Most likely, we're not gonna have the nationals and then that other event you said. So we'll just see how it goes. And we'll look at it and we'll see what happens in October.
Tammy?
Okay, I'm
Yeah, I
bringing
think
it to
I
you.
think you're right. I think what we
guys to
saw
help.
on Sunday was not good. But
And what do you think,
Wait.
Dean?
I'll be very honest with you. We weren't happy about it with all of the effort we put in to controlling it. That particular group is just a different animal.
All right, so what do you-
I think that, Mr. Johnson, you said it's in the back of your head to say, no, we're not having the nationals. I think you really need to consult with the Board of Health before you make a final decision.
For the nationals.
Yes, for the nationals.
Well, with due respect, I feel that I can pull out of the national without your blessing.
To pull
Absolutely.
out, yes, but to accept, maybe that would be a different story. And there's got to be a lot of advertising, a lot of preparation that goes into it. You can't just say a weekend before, no, I'm not going to do it.
no, he's got it. I'm sure.
I
he's
would
got a deadline.
I would not consider doing the national without the blessing of the Board of Health for Southwick and the state of Massachusetts. And trust me, nothing will happen 1 week before. This event normally takes 10 months to prepare.
So what's the percentage? What would you need for the state to change in order for this to be even possible?
It really depends on the other moving parts. It depends on whether or not I can get the factory teams to reduce the payment to their pro riders, whether or not I can get the sanction fee to be reduced, whether or not I can get the security down. There are so many other things that I have to consider. But until I see what move the state may or may not make, I can't really determine what it is as my goal to get these other people to concession.
So I'm confused. I mean, what move would they have to make? To eliminate social distancing? Is that what you're saying?
It would be either eliminate or reduce or soften up some way. The way it is right now, if nothing changes in the next 10 days, there won't be a national.
So that really has nothing to do with us. That has to come from Boston. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Now I'm confused. You just said it takes 10 months to prepare, but yet you're going to make a decision in the next 10 days?
I'm kind of forced to, normally the preparation for this event would take place last October. And although we have put all of our bits and pieces together, we haven't been able to execute any of them because we don't have the ability to really say we can have a national. So I could not go much more than 10 days from now and still be prepared to do a national properly. There are a lot of logistics that have to take place.
Well, I sincerely wish you all the best of luck, sir.
I will take all the luck I can get.
All right,
Sue?
so, thank you for your efforts in trying to enforce the guidelines. Because it sounds
Yeah,
like you're really trying.
I think it's terribly difficult to do that. I mean,
Yes.
people just look at you, they'll put their mask on, and then they'll take their mask off.
Mhm.
But,
Maybe-
and that happens everywhere, Doc. And no, it doesn't matter where you go.
I know.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. When you walk down the beach here in Plymouth, it's the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, we all go around town. I think Southwood's pretty compliant. Wherever you go in town, people wear masks inside, even outside. I don't see many people in Big Y, or I don't see many people post office, or I don't see many people coming in and out of restaurants without their masks on. They're pretty compliant.
Okay, so
Whatever reason.
So we're all set here. We're just going to monitor it and then we'll readdress it back in September, whatever. To see about
Amy?
okay.
So you weren't against Mr. Johnson doing these regular motocross. You were just against the J-Day, right?
Or I mean, I don't know the type of, I haven't yet lived through a national, so I don't know the type of riders at a national, if they're different than the type of riders. I know the J-Day is a different event because it's a much more kind of, it seems rambunctious just out of the whole nature of it, opening up the entire fields and getting out into the forest and everything like that. I don't know what the nationals look like, and that's why I wanted to discuss these larger ones today.
Well, Rick has already pretty much said that unless the state changes, then we really don't have we have no foot in this fire. I mean, if they don't open up, then he can't do it. If they open up, then he'll comply to where they open up to the best he can. But it's not up to us at this point. Is that right? Sue, you agree with me?
Yeah, so we can move on.
Yes, I
Thank
think
you,
so.
Mr. Johnson, for coming.
Tammy, is that all set? Are you all set with everything?
Yeah, I wanted to get your take on it, guys.
How about Jean? You're all set?
Yes, Sue, I am.
Good
Thank
luck,
you.
Rick.
Thank you so much,
All right,
folks.
thank you and good luck.
Bye now.
Good night, Rick.
Madam Director, you have a report to make.
Me? Let's see. So for regular routine things, Title V witnessing, these are all repairs: 102 Mort Vining Road, 95 Powder Mill, 6 Laurel Ridge. I conducted final septic inspections at 5 Honeybird Run, 10 Noble Steed Crossing, 7 Noble Steed Crossing, and 100 Klaus Anderson Road, all new inspections.
I mean, all new
Are
installations.
all new systems. Yeah, all new systems.
Repairs.
Not repairs. No, these are all my septic inspections were all new. So Honeybird, Noble Steed, and Klaus Anderson. It's that house. If you drive up Klaus, they've been working on for a while. It's very nice. It's kind of. I love to be able to see the new houses.
Oh, is that the one, Jerry and Jean, that we've been wrestling with for years?
No, I think it's a new construction, Tammy. Is that the one up on the
Yeah, it's a new
right-hand
house.
side?
Oh,
Yeah.
they tore the old one down. Is when you go to Klaus Anderson's, the first one is on the left-hand side,
100. It's up.
all the way up. That's different.
Yeah.
Different lot then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
if you're
it's up.
going west, it's on the right-hand side, right? If you're going traveling west, it's on the right-hand side.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's got that neat wooden. Anyway.
Yeah.
My critique on how neat the house is doesn't matter.
It's
Whatever
okay.
happened to that other one? Did they tear it down? Do you remember which
It's been
one?
torn down since I've been working here.
Oh. Gene and Jerry, do you remember? He
Yeah,
never-
I know. Next to Victor's old house.
Yeah,
he Never finished building it.
I'm sorry.
The one that had never finished building.
That's correct. I have no idea what happened to it.
Okay.
Oh, that is honestly that is all that is not COVID related. So do you want to jump to the temporary food?
Now I have a
Yeah.
question though. When I brought this up, I remember as American Inn changed hands, right? Did that property that was owned by the previous owner's son, did that change hands also? The one that we had trouble with the septic system and the lead? Do you remember that? I talked to you about it. You didn't do anything about that then. Is that correct?
Are you talking to me or are you talking
Yes,
to
I
Gene?
am. No, I'm talking to you.
Oh, I've started to look through the files, but I haven't figured out what house that is. When I tell you that the file, it's about 3 feet.
Yeah, it's 7. I think the number is 7. I'll find
Yeah,
out.
it's all lumped into this one like giant box. So I've been looking through it, but I
Okay.
certainly didn't have enough time today to look through the whole thing.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yep.
We'll move on.
Jerry,
But I will be looking into it. Trust me.
Jerry, what's that about?
Well, remember we had the tenant complained about the lead and Tom went into the lead inspection, found we had lead.
Oh, on College Highway?
Yeah, and then he also found two exit pipes in the basement. So apparently they repaired the septic system without permits. And we went to court and he said he wasn't going to have a tenant in there until he got a new Title V. And I don't believe that's been done. And I think they moved the tenant in. With everything that's been going on, I think it's kind of been off the radar. But
Yeah.
now American Inn's been sold, so I don't know what's happened to that property. And I'd like to find out. And do my last meeting, get this over with. Because it's been going on forever.
I've been looking through the files. Those aren't the way they're not lumped together by address.
Yeah, it was a consent decree that we got with the mediator. And anyways, so okay, let's move on.
So do you want to move to the temporary food?
Yes.
Sure.
So pretty much I was suggesting that onto our permit, we just add that along with there being single day or multiple day, to put a seasonal to reflect things like farmers markets or seasons. A lot of this stuff really, we don't really see much this year when you're talking about the sports and stuff, and people aren't really doing kind of, season-long sport sort of events, but that could cover that sort of thing, not the school related, but private sports. And then farmers markets, that would cover
So this,
one for the whole season.
so this permit that, Jessica, did you send it out? This permit is the current one that I have. in front
It's almost the current one, except it has just a line that says seasonal event. It's basically what we have right now.
The one I have has a single day, a multiple day, and then you want to add another square.
So right next to multiple day, it says multiple day or seasonal event.
So multiple day would be 2 to 5 days in a row, and a seasonal event would be,
A season, so a farmer's market season, like 3 months.
okay, so my thought would be to have the multiple day 2 to 5, and then put the seasonal event underneath it.
Okay, I think what I wanted to bring up, do you guys want different fee or stay with just calling that all 75, because that's what we have right now is for the multiple day is 75 and single day is 25.
What do you think, Jane and Jerry?
I think that's fine. Enough's enough.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Yeah.
ask for
especially-
more.
Especially with people trying to get on their feet, like they don't need to raise fees now.
A seasonal event for seasonal, what, for all summer?
How about- I have a definition that I can send to you guys from the regulation I wrote for Chicopee for what seasonal event is.
Do you want to include that somewhere on the application, what a seasonal event is?
Yes and no. I prefer not to post temporary permits online because I would rather have people call me up so we can talk about what best fits them, because sometimes a temporary permit doesn't fit a person where they might take it and they might fill it out, but really what would probably be financially is for them to become a mobile if they have a mobile truck. So those are reasons why you won't find the temporary permit up on our website.
No, but I mean a definition of what a seasonal event is.
I could do that. I could put like, for example, farmer's market, sports season or something like that next to it. If I could put some mock-ups for you guys and see what you like.
And what is the season? For 3 months?
3
4
months,
What's the season?
3 months right? A quarter of a year is a season. I tried to.
You might have a seasonal thing from April to October.
I would, typically what we would do at my previous position was 3 months from the date of applying. And if you go over that, you pull another seasonal. Or we could just do it from the beginning of something to the end.
If I remember correctly, definition of a seasonal state permit is 90 days, open any 90 days during the year. Is that correct? After
Okay.
that, something else jumps into, you
Yeah,
can't have
it's
more,
90
you can't be
days.
open more than 90 days and still get a seasonal permit for any operation. The way I read
So
it,
for example, what we had, I had a woman who sold cupcakes, and she sold outdoor in a farmer's market cupcakes all summer. But then she moved indoors to a flea market in the winter time. So we went from a summer seasonal to a winter seasonal. So it wouldn't preclude anybody from applying a second time for an additional, like say we move into a fall season. It would just be, we re-upped for that.
well, what's the Ansons get? Do they get a seasonal permit?
We don't have any seasonal permits left. We just do an annual food service.
Well, he's not a food service, he's a business. So he doesn't get a permit from us, is that correct?
Oh, well, retail food, but we call it food service, retail food.
Okay, so except for that, we have no control over anything.
Now,
They
have
do-
all control over how we decide to permit.
Okay, just wondering.
If you sell food, retail, if you sell food at a retail level, we have
Okay,
to regulate it.
sure.
Will the mobile unit fall under this?
So if it was a mobile and they really didn't want to pay we're $100, right? They really didn't want to pay 100 and they only wanted to pay 75. It would limit them to not being able to go anywhere else in town. But they could do a temporary mobile if they wanted to, or say they just wanted to try it out for one week. They could do a 1 day mobile, or a one day temporary event.
So are you saying this temporary food service establishment permit is for one location?
Yes, yeah. So it would only be for a particular stationary event. But it would really behoove people, if they had a mobile cart, to just go and get a mobile license, because they wouldn't have to continue to get temporary permit here and a temporary permit there. I would be able to kind of control a little more, because it's a lot more thorough, the paperwork for mobile, than it is for temporary.
So a mobile 75 too, also.
Is it 75? Sorry.
Yeah.
But not everybody at these type of events, like a farmer's market, would be considered mobile. Like, if, say, for example, somebody who, well, I'll keep saying cupcakes. Say they bake cupcakes out of a licensed establishment in West Springfield, they would come here and they would set up, they'd set up a booth. That would be a temporary. That would never be a mobile.
So, Joe, you have 2 mobile units?
I got whatever you need, kid. What do you want to do?
No, I'm
Oh,
looking at our mobile units and you're listed here twice.
Yeah, I'm probably the biggest permitted holder of Board of Health in this town. So I have 2 mobile units. I have the concession stand at motocross, the business. Yep. And I pull probably another 10 temporaries for the Nationals if it comes to town.
Okay.
So what are the chances of the Nationals happening? What do you think?
You want my input on all this? So the regular races that we have up there, okay? The reason they kind of wear their mask all the time is because it's like a soccer team. It's their children coming 4 or 5 times that season to Southwick. So they do comply because they need to comply. Where the J Day, your J Day is Joe Redneck out of the woods, no shirt on, 12
Drinker and
pack.
smoker.
Right, drinking and smoking, 12 pack in. We probably told 30 people at J Day they couldn't. My signs say no, don't be an ass, wear a mask.
Very
it
large
does.
signs.
And a very large sign. And they walk away because my daughter has 0 tolerance with it. And bye, so they do wear their mask. But not the J Day's a shit show. The National, if the National comes to down, every professional team that is there will have a mask on. Every food vendor will have a mask on. But you cannot control the public as much as you would like to. And so my odds, my theory, there's no National. There's probably no Big E. I just don't know how they can pull that off properly. And Rugged Maniac's going to be a no. And that other J Day in the end, if there's a no mask, if the mask thing gets lifted and everything else, you can do it. But if it doesn't, you're not doing it. And the reason there was a lot of cars, if you came in with a motorhome, Mr. Asia, in your rig, you couldn't bring your car in. Your car had to stay out
Okay.
in that rec center and in the motocross fields there. That's why
Yeah.
you saw all those cars. They wouldn't allow them in because they had no room for them.
Okay.
No, I know, but
What
Tammy,
about,
just to be clear, Joe, Tammy was the one that sent out the email. I didn't.
No,
The complaint didn't come from me. I just want to let you know.
you got to know. So
Oh, no, I forwarded you the email that was,
Thank you.
the
Yeah.
videos that were sent
Just
to
to be
me.
clear, Joe.
through the-
it's all good. We were out of food by 2:30 that day.
what if you have a National without spectators?
So what he's not telling you is there's hundreds of thousands of dollars in play between paying out these riders. So the way the National in Southwick works, that gate money
Yeah.
is their money, right? That stays in town. So with no gate money, no National. No, if the
That's a
spectator
lot.
can't pay,
Yeah. that's
There's
a
no
lot of
National.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
my
the
question is-
difference is it's a different set. It's actually a different set of regulations. Because the ones on the other days we call that amateur.
Yeah.
And that's the no spectators, but that isn't the case for the professional level. The professional level does allow spectators.
So,
it does. But he would
Joe-
need such a high number.
So Joe, what are the odds that if they don't have it this year, the Nationals say tell Southwick bye-bye? I mean,
No,
it was hard enough to get it back, wasn't it?
it was. Yeah, but that was all, as you would say, politics.
Well,
And the right people
was
got
it.
involved. The right people got involved, and we got it back. So
Okay.
it's all good. No, they completely know. How can you be a national promoters group and have Massachusetts on your list and think you're going to pull it off? Right? Nationally, Massachusetts is very strict, and it's fine. So they all get it. They realize it. I know it's not going to hurt us.
okay.
It'll hurt him. It ain't going to hurt us.
Okay,
Why-
back to the food permit, Jerry.
I'm fine.
So do you want me to, if you like that as it is, we make that seasonal stand out from multiple, and I put an example or a explanation of seasonal in then 90 days.
Yeah, that's what the
Jean, that okay with you?
regulations say.
She's muted.
You're muted, Jean.
Jean,
I
is that
know,
okay with
I
you?
can't figure out how to unclick.
Is that
No,
okay?
that's fine. And maybe
Okay.
could there be a little caveat in there? 90 days from day of issuance. You know, to specify what that 90-day period is. Okay?
I'm thinking, I'm just,
And while we're on that subject, the farmers market at the Brass Rail, they in our minutes last time, you had mentioned that you were going to ask for a permit from the Agricultural Commission. They had met last night, and they really have no issue here because it's not a real farmer's market. It's not a production of food. It's a holistic type product and not necessarily a grown traditional type of farmer product. So they didn't do anything about, there's no permit that they would issue because it's not really a farmer's market.
So what will they be selling?
It's holistic.
Meaning what?
Lotions and potions and, some homemade or handmade stuff. It's not like you grow a carrot in the ground and sell it.
So that's what comes under the Board of Health, I assume.
I don't know who it comes under, but I know it was mentioned that you were going to contact the Agricultural Commission. The Agricultural Commission says, now, unless you grow it in the ground and put it on a table for sale, that they really have nothing to do with it.
so from what I was told, there will be some farms represented. There will be some food products, and there will be some other retail.
No, nobody
vendors.
on the Agricultural Commission knew of any farmers that were being participants.
They don't want anything to do with it. It's
I don't
basically-
have a list of anybody. I've only actually spoken to 2 people who were curious about our permits.
So if the Agricultural Commission doesn't want to do anything about it, then Doug, you had your hand up.
Yeah, sorry. I love the Agricultural Commission. I think it's great. And we're a right to farm community and they're doing great work. So this is not a shot across the bow, but I also don't think that they're a permit granting authority.
No,
So I think if there's anything going, and believe me, I've put my foot into it with this place. So I'm not speaking ill of it. I don't know anything about it other than what I've read, right? But it just seems like it's an outdoor thing. And
like
God
an
bless them,
outdoor flea market.
Well, I don't even know how to characterize it, but it's going to have all kinds of products for sale there. So whatever permitting is required, I don't know, from the Board of Health or whatever. Ag can endorse it if it was going to be, hey, all the farmers are doing it. They sponsor the tractor rally but they don't grant a permit per se, right? There's no, they could even sponsor it if they wanted to, but this is not they just don't issue a permit. And so if there is a Board of Health permit required, by all means, right? And if there's not, okay too, but
Okay,
I didn't
so,
want to muddy the water.
so we're going,
So what did you say? I didn't hear you.
so we're gonna issue a permit for any vendor who's selling food.
Yeah.
And then what's a common victualer's license?
Oh.
Does it,
That's your license to sell food. It's like a business license to sell food. It's not health related. It's kind of like it covers whether or not you have paid your taxes and everything like that, and you can be like a business.
okay, so the victualler is from the select board, right?
Yes.
And is
and
that
it's-
saying, yes, you can have that business there? So yes, you can have this farmer's market?
It's a
I don't
relic.
think you guys have a temporary common victulars. You have a mobile and a brick and mortar, but I don't know if you guys have a temporary.
If I'm correct,
And we're not going to.
we had gone through this a number of times, that the victular license is a relic from the old times when they had inns. Is that correct? And it's
Correct.
really
And
out-
it is kind of, I mean, like
outdated.
the bars have to buy a milk license these days still too, right? Because
No,
they
no,
put, so there is a bunch of old New England Yankee stuff in
Well, they
there
don't
too.
anymore, Doug, by the way.
Oh, they don't need the milk one anymore? I remember somebody regaling me that they
Last
needed
year.
a permit for milk.
So is the
Okay.
select board going to get rid of the victular license?
No, I think it's state law. I don't think it's up to us to get rid of it.
I
Okay.
think it makes sense. I think it makes sense as a license.
So what are you gonna do, Tammy, about these the brass rail, the ones that do sell food? What do we do?
Permit.
Okay,
Everybody gets permitted.
okay.
Yes, if you got food, if you have perishable food, you need a
So
permit.
that's gonna happen this Sunday, is that correct? They have it every week?
Oh, it's not happening until May
Oh, okay. So, all right,
30th.
May 30th.
or April 30th. Is that?
That's
Okay.
only 2 weeks away, Tammy. Are you going to actually go there or to give?
Yeah,
these
I've
permits?
gotta inspect them to license them.
So you'll know which vendors are there and which ones sell food products.
Yeah.
And that, yeah, okay, so then you'll issue them the permits.
I talked to Jen today.
Okay, well, that makes me feel better.
Can we go back, Gene, to the seasonal permit? My thought is, if I was getting a seasonal permit, I would probably get it months in advance, in preparation of the season. So therefore, I wouldn't want it to take effect until the first day that I'm actually doing business.
That's fine. I like
Yeah,
that. I like that. So that's what
Yeah.
Gene meant. I think that,
Yeah, so,
as opposed to, right, day of issuance. Right, I agree.
well,
So that's what Gene meant. The first day they started to work.
right, that's what I meant. Tammy knew what I meant.
Yeah,
Okay,
so,
Tammy?
And I did too.
so on the line that would be dates, it would be dates up until 90 days
From when they first open or whatever.
Right.
from their first day of the
Operation. Yep.
Okay. Are you all set with the food thing?
No, okay, so we have this permit. We have a residential kitchen permit and we have, no, okay, that's on my fee schedule here.
I know that's the old fee schedule. I changed the fee schedule though, because apparently according to the building code, that residential kitchens are not allowed. So we can't allow residential kitchens. We don't have any legal residential kitchens.
Hey, Jessica, can you send me up-to-date fee schedule? I
Yeah.
have a list of all, all the people who get licenses, but just a fee schedule would be good.
Yes.
See what we have for permits now.
I'm pretty sure it's fixed on the website, but if not, I'll send you a new one in the morning, Jess.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Tammy, is that a new thing that they're not allowed to have residential kitchens anymore?
Tom informed me of it during my training.
I knew of one that was permitted at one time. So that's why maybe it's no more, but I didn't.
Yeah, we don't have any permitted and haven't since I started. I guess it was something about
Oh,
zone.
it's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while, but I
Yeah.
knew of one that was done and inspected, but it was
So
years
anybody
ago.
who's asked, I've had to tell them that they need to get a license at a commissary kitchen.
No problem.
All right, what exactly is a residential kitchen?
That would have been like being able to make cake
Muffins.
cookies at home.
Fudge
And then sell it on the internet?
or
No,
sell it
you
to someone
can-
else, right?
Yeah, sell it out of your home.
Or take it to someplace and some.
All right, so.
Not-
if
Not
some-
a health inspector's favorite license.
Okay, so if somebody wanted to do that, then how would they go about doing it?
They couldn't because building code prohibits it.
They would have to rent my kitchen.
The building code prohibits it.
It does. So when you get a residential license, you have to go get rezoned. You have to have it reflected on your insurance because now you're not using your stove twice a day. You're using it all day. It becomes sort of a fire hazard and liability.
It's too bad. Okay.
Anybody else have any questions about this temporary food service? Jean?
Do,
You're
Sue?
muted.
Are you all
Yeah,
set? Sue?
sorry.
Are you all set with
Yes,
this?
I'm all set.
Okay, how about you, Sue?
Yeah, I think we can move on now.
Thank you, okay.
do you guys have to vote on that or?
I can take a motion to approve the temporary food service as corrected.
But wait a minute, we never voted on other,
No, I don't think
No?
we need, no.
And we
I
don't
think
need,
we
it's
do.
permits the permit. You don't need to vote on it.
Yeah,
Because we're,
The
I guess, I just wanted to bring it up because we're changing the.
And-
nature
Yeah,
of the
but
permit. Okay,
it's a revision of the permit that's already in
application.
effect, so we,
perfect. Perfect.
okay.
Okay, we'll move on to COVID.
COVID.
How about that? Let me hold. So, Kate just sent me her update. She couldn't make the meeting. The top list is it shared? Guys,
I've got it.
yes.
got it? Okay.
Sue?
Hard
Jean,
to know
you
when
see it?
because every time I do it, I lose you guys. So the top one we're looking at, let me see if I can move this a little bit. Is she just sent this. These are the vaccinations in town, the COVID-19 vaccination. If you look at portion, let's see, portion of town, population, individuals. She moved it around a little bit. Oh, fully vaccinated individuals. So this is like our prime amount right here. It's not added up, but it's a pretty decent number. So it's like 1,000, 2,000. So we got about 2,000 people looks vaccinated out of
About 10%.
9,800.
1978,
20%.
1978.
1978.
Did you do that in your head?
Yes, dear. Did it with my trusty
I cannot do that in my head.
adding machine here. Thank you.
Okay, and it seems like our largest represented group is those in there from 50 to 64.
That's 20%, Joe, right?
Yeah.
And then if you look below, we've got, oh, the whole list hadn't come out yet as of around last time I spoke to Kate. So our total positive tests for the last 14 days is 33, which I don't have our total cases, but I'll have those in the morning for my Friday update.
Do we know if those are from a cluster or they're still from?
No,
a
they're
unit?
coming in like groups of 3 and families. It's not really, it's very, like once a day or every other day, we're getting like 3 or so. And it's kind of, we're just kind of seeing it going through the community, but it's not really cluster related. No.
And what
Does
age?
anybody know how many deaths we've had
7, I believe.
for the whole pandemic?
I think so.
So the number that I added up the number with at least one dose and it's 3,100 about. So that's 30.
I'm just gonna, does anyone need this or I'll stop sharing?
Out of those 30-something people, what age group?
The average age is slightly over 40. It's like 40.8. It's Kate said it's an even mix of people of all ages.
Anybody hospitalized?
Yes,
I don't know.
yes, the answer to that.
Is
Yeah.
yes.
How many, Jerry?
I know of one.
I'm just gonna stop that. Okay, so the big thing that happened this week is the FDA and the CDC declared a pause on the J&J vaccine due to venous sinus thrombosis with thrombocytopenia. after receipt of Johnson and Johnson COVID-19 vaccine. So
To translate that, it's a blood clot.
clotting. We need Kate to translate that,
But I
but
can translate it for you.
yeah, clotting issues.
It's a blood clot in the front of your brain.
Low platelet count.
So out of over 6 million people that had received the vaccine in the United States, 6 people did come down with this clotting.
One
And
died.
1 or 2 of them, I saw 2 people had died and 1 people had died. So I don't know if it's,
Oh,
One
between
person
one and
died
two.
and one person I guess was critical or
Um,
or something.
and women between the
All
ages
women.
of 18 and 48. Yes.
I have jeans. Thank you for washing those. Oops.
Oh, so as-
Sorry, my husband just came by.
as a precaution, they put a pause on it while they're reviewing it. It just so happened that the pause came about 1 minute after I went to the Commonwealth Clinic to pick up our J&J vaccine that we were going to be administering to our homebound residents on Wednesday. I was able to pick it up and we have it stored. And we're just waiting to find out if we can, in fact, go back and start up the program. The timing doesn't work right because we were hoping to get that done before the Big E so that we'd have the paramedics available.
I
But
have that.
I talked to the fire department and they'll still be able to make it happen, lending us out some paramedics to do it. If whether or not we find out we can use the J&J or if we get the option to switch to Moderna or Pfizer. They're still hashing that out. So we
It'll
don't,
be another 8 days.
is that how long they said?
I heard today. Another 8
Oh, I
days.
hadn't even gotten that one yet.
But that's before they make a decision, if they make one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do the vaccines that you currently have, do you think they'll still be usable?
Yeah.
They can stay refrigerated for 90 days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is great that it's stable that long. So
But if I
We'll
would take a
find out.
poll, my guess would be that if you were offered the J&J vaccine, you might take a pass at it right now. Just like- even though the odds
some
of
of the seniors felt that most of the seniors, they seemed like they would continue to have it.
the chances of dying of COVID are a
Residents.
lot more than of dying from this vaccine, but if people just,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, but if you're the person that gets the blood clot, that's a different story.
I'm
Yeah.
not disagreeing with you, but if you're I'm just, the odds, never mind, it's okay. We don't have to talk about it.
So we'll find out. Keep everybody posted on that. And then our other big thing we've been planning is preparing everything for the West of the River Collaborative COVID-19 Vaccine Clinic, I think is the official name for the Big A Clinic. We've had a couple different meetings this week, and one of the reasons why I asked Doug, I said we were going to have a brief meeting tomorrow just to kind of, a lot of people went to a lot of different meetings, and one of the things is next week there is the opening ceremony, and on the opening ceremony we will get our special link, I guess, will be handed to either a town administration or select board member, and that'll be given to us so that we can actually sign up people ourselves. We'll get 72 appointments to sign up ourselves every week, which would be great. So that we're trying to figure out, we're going to start with using the senior center as a call-in area to have people call in who need help. But just because you have 72 for us to plug in the system doesn't mean that those other appointments aren't available to residents. They are. They'll be, so it'll be just regular enrollment. But because Southwick is partaking in running the clinic, we get a percentage that can just be dedicated to ours. I'll find out more, but that was really kind of all I wanted to share tomorrow. But if you can't make it, that's fine. But so we had a training today to learn the system. It's called Color to register residents up for the shots. And we're just kind of finding more. I know that the fire department's going through trainings for their paramedics and for people helping out. And we'll just find out more as it goes. The opening day is next Tuesday, I think at 11:30, the first slots. But for the first week, it's all pre-registered people who'd already pre-registered through the state website. And then the next week, each day gets a dedicated amount for each town.
So I have to compliment the state on this, the new pre-registration that they have. I pre-registered my wife and I on Easter Sunday. And on the next Saturday, we got a message from the state to sign up at Eastfield Mall. We were able to both get
cool
dates at the same time. And it really was very easy. And some idiot made the wrong date for his wife, and I was able to change it actually on the phone. Well, this woman was just terrific, and it was easy and simple, and it really worked great. So I was pleased, very pleased with it. I thought it only took 7 days to get the time.
So how do the Southwick residents sign up? Same way?
There's just they sign up online. There'll be we'll be posting the link to sign up. Sign up just like anybody else online at the website for it. But people who have problems with using the internet, they can they'll be able to call us up and we can sign them up that way.
Is it open for everyone older than 16 or whatever?
I
19?
I think it'll be 18 and above because it's Moderna.
Oh, good,
Correct.
good, Moderna, good.
Yeah, I think that everybody who wants to register can get it online and be in a slot within probably 2 weeks. When I went online, they had thousands of openings at Eastfield Mall from now to the 20th of April, which back then was the
All right, so
11th.
when can they start signing up, Tammy?
I think general registration opens up next week.
19.
Is it gonna be a first come, first serve type thing?
First
How
come,
do you gonna pick and choose those 72 people?
it would be the first come, first serve.
Yeah, but you can sign up when you sign up, Gene, and you come from Southwick. If there's a slot somewhere else, they'll get you in. You don't have to be from Southwick.
I'm already fully
I
vaccinated.
know, but am I right, Tammy? You don't need to be from Southwick to get your shot at the 172, isn't it? I mean, if you register at the Big E slot,
It's-
whatever's
Those are
open,
just, yeah, those 72, is it 72 or 75? Those slots are just slots basically that the town of Southwick has for us to fill out to
pass out.
help residents who
Right.
can't call in, who they don't know how to, they won't be able to
Right.
use the internet or whatnot. Yeah.
But if you're anybody else in town can go on the state site
Yeah.
and click on Big E or whatever it's going to be called,
It's
and if there's a
easier.
slot open, no matter what town it comes from, they'll put you in it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's
Tammy,
easy.
when someone gets their first dose, they will then be assigned the date for their second dose
at the clinic.
at that same time.
It'll be done at the clinic. Yep.
Nobody leaves without a date.
You got it. You got it.
The
There's
system really has progressed from when they started. It was
Yeah.
really,
All right.
It's terrific.
It's very easy.
Good.
I will say that these last two topics of the Biggie and the homebound program really took up most of the last 14 days. It really having to call everybody back because we had 50 people signed up, and it was. I'm glad that Jess was around last week to help call up all the people to give them their time slots, even though in the end we had to call them back to tell them sorry. But it's been, and most of the people they've just been so nice. They really have been. They're so nice, so understanding, and they know we want to do stuff for them. And I'll tell you that when they called up and said that we had 50 doses. I danced around like it was 5,000. I was just happy that we were able to do that for everybody. And I hope that we can go back to that program. So my fingers are crossed and I'm knocking on wood.
Okay.
And I'd like to say that's it, but it feels like it's so much. So that's my report.
Okay, I'd like to, Peter, you have any questions?
I don't think so. Did Rick Johnson say that the national was on June 26th? I don't remember what he said.
I think it's 22nd.
Joe knows.
You can say it's in June.
Yeah, Joe knows that.
Or supposed to take place, I guess I should say.
26th.
26. Oh, perfect. Okay. That's all I got.
Okay. I'd like to add one thing before we leave. I actually listened to some of the select board meeting on April 5. I found it quite enjoyable. Anyways, I'd like to thank the board for cooperating. The select board were cooperating with us with the issue that we had the other day. And personally, I'd like to thank all three of you. So that's my final word.
Yeah.
Take a
Thank you.
motion to adjourn for the next 2 weeks.
I will make that
No,
motion.
that's not right. The
3 weeks.
next meeting is going to be
I think it's May 6th.
the 6th of May.
When's the vote?
The 11th, and then the town meeting is the 18th.
18.
So the 6th will be the next meeting because there's 5 Thursdays in April. So we won't have a meeting on the 29th. If that's okay with everybody.
It's breaking my heart.
I know, Gene, me too. All right, so I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I think I already did that.
Okay, second, Sue?
Yep, I'm in favor.
Okay, Jerry, yes. Okay, everybody have a nice couple weeks.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good
Be
night.
safe.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
Bye.
Bye.